Hello, Libra. Welcome to Soul Good. I'm Amber Marie, and this is your May 2023 Tarotscope. In the description box below, you will find all sorts of goodies, including a timestamp if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. I'm very excited to be here with you and feel very blessed to be sharing a spread that I've created looking at what you've conquered. Where are you gaining clarity? What do you have the opportunity to change? And what might you be celebrating now or in the future? So let's dive in, Libra, and see what comes through for you. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, what has Libra conquered, please? Okay, thank you. Where is Libra gaining clarity, please? Okay, that's interesting. What do you have the opportunity to change, Libra? Okay, thank you. And what might Libra be celebrating now or in the future? Okay, beautiful. Let's get some clarity. Tell us more, please. What has Libra conquered? Tell us more. What has Libra conquered? Okay, thank you. And how would we? Okay. Tell us more, please, about where Libra has or is gaining clarity. Okay. Tell us more, please, about what Libra has the opportunity to change. Thank you. And tell us more, please, about what Libra might be celebrating now or in the future. Okay. Thank you. Can we please have some advice, guidance, or encouragement for Libra? Right here. Okay, perfect. Let's dive in, Libra, and see what's going on for you. So what have you conquered, Libra? We do have the fish here. To some extent, I feel like some of you may have conquered being more adaptable to going with the flow, perhaps diving deep within self, I feel could also be something, delving into your own consciousness. I also feel like for some of you, there's something here about potentially diving deeper into what you may have seen as illusion in the past. That's really interesting and quite specific. So I do feel like that may only apply to a certain few people. But the fish here is a water sign, or is rather in the water element suit of this particular deck. And I feel like there's something here about your emotions and feelings. Again, potentially diving deeper with those or being able to flow with them with more ease. Perhaps even not getting so overwhelmed, experiencing them or navigating them. But I do want to read from the book here. That's just what I'm picking up intuitively, but let's take a look here and see a little bit deeper. Okay. So it says here, restlessness, change of focus, lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, adaptable travels well. When out of balance, distracted, changes mind often. to bring into balance, set a small goal and accomplish it, right? So again, there is this element here, Libra, of essentially conquering the, yeah, I for whatever reason, I feel like this may have a lot to do with emotions or life in general and being able to flow with it. Again, like was stated there, being more adaptable, you know, easily able to, I just feel like there's something about going with the flow. Like I keep seeing it like this, right? Which tells me, you know, if there are, let's say, like there's a fish that's swimming, you know, in the stream, it's just flowing around rocks and things. So I do feel like you've conquered this. I feel like, how would you say, for some of you, life may feel a lot less chaotic. You may experience challenges or rough waters, let's say, and it may not feel as tumultuous. It may not feel as panicky, right? Like you may be able to navigate those things with much more ease. Yeah, we do have the Father of Cups here, right? Which is this is that ability to balance your head and heart space, um, to easier be able to easier or more easily navigate your emotions. Also, I just want to apologize, Libra, because they are doing some work around my neck of the woods, and so it's been a little bit loud. I waited patiently and thought that they were done, but clearly not. So I do apologize for the interruption. But with the Father or the King of Cups here, right? This is an energy of, let's say, in the reverse. Okay, so it's like this imbalance between your head and your heart. This is not having control over your emotions. It could also be indicative of emotionally manipulating others, maybe even yourself to some degree. But this is essentially like not having authority over your emotions, maybe not being tolerant or calm or diplomatic or caring of others' emotions. But more specifically, I do feel like for some reason there's something here about you being more in control of your emotions, conquering that imbalance, right? Again, like finding that control. Let's see, we also have the nine, yes, the Nine of Cups here as well. So it's interesting that you have two cups out with the fish, all representing that water element or emotions and feelings. Possibly there, this could have a lot to do perhaps with the relationships, but I feel for most it feels more to me like this, like emotions being brought to the forefront, like that being the key thing that maybe what you've been conquering. Okay, so the Nine of Cups in the reverse is this, essentially it is lack of true joy, dissatisfaction, but this is also emotional instability. And that's, again, I just feel like there's this reiteration here of essentially that you may have experienced or been someone who was not very in control of, you know, emotions, and perhaps wasn't able to adapt or to flow with your emotions, right? You may have been somebody who was very reactive to them, or I almost get this feeling of like a sinking feeling into your emotions, right? Where they kind of like run away with you. I think is a good way to put that. So I do feel like you've been, I do get a feeling as well, which is, this is pretty interesting because I don't know that I've actually picked up on this with any other sign thus far. But I feel like for some of you, you may not have conquered this just yet, or maybe you feel like you haven't conquered this just yet. But it could be something that you're working on. And actually, I'm getting this really, oh, this very weird feeling in my heart space. It's going like from the front of my chest to my back in um, my heart space. And I feel like this could be something where, how would you say, it almost feels like you could feel it all through your being, right? Like experiencing these emotions would be something you would feel all throughout your body, like it would overcome you, create that imbalance. I also feel like there's this, how would you say, like a tension in the heart space as well. So you could have actually like shut down when it came to your emotions, which is really interesting energies. But I do feel like if you feel like you haven't conquered this thus far, um, if you feel like you haven't actually overcome or been able to find balance or control in your emotions or over your emotions, I feel like it's something that is likely, how would you say, something that maybe you've been working on, or something that is been brought to the forefront of your experience, as to say, this is something that needs to be addressed, this is something that needs your attention, this is something that needs to be brought to the surface, that needs to be clarified, right? Like it needs to be brought to the surface, which is really interesting. Because here's the thing with the moon, it can be those, it's kind of, how would you say, it can be that kind of, and the way I'm picking it up is kind of this energy of like confusion, but also, right, where the moon is, it's going to illuminate in the darkness. It's going to shed light on things, and where it's not, those are things that are hidden, or again in the dark, right? So I feel like there's something here about them at the very least being brought to the surface, and you may be working on conquering those, um, because the Father of Cups here, or the King of Cups, and the kings in general, will say, are, more of those authority type of figures. It's going to be that, again, kind of taking that control. And I feel like this is something that you've either been working on conquering or have. So let's take a look here where you have, or where you are gaining more clarity, or gaining clarity. Wow. So we do have the oyster here, and this is also a water element animal spirit. So with the oyster, this is literally about like coming out of your shell, sharing with the world that pearl that you have within you, this very beautiful thing that exists within you, and not being afraid of that, right? Not like clamming up, as it were, or shutting down or hiding those things about yourself that are actually gifts to the world. Um, so I feel like this is something that you're gaining clarity on. Maybe you have recently, or are currently, being shown or understanding or coming to some realization about the gifts that you have to share with the world, or the gifts that you have to offer the world, or the qualities, the characteristics, the talents, the love, even like I don't feel like it's limited to being good at something. I feel like there is something unique about everyone, and we all have something that we can share with the world. We all have something to offer, and I feel like there's something here, Libra, where you may be learning this, and maybe discovering what that is about yourself. But the thing about the oyster is that there's a choice. Like you have to be, I mean, you don't have to be, but there is a choice at hand, right? You have to choose whether or not you're going to share that with the world, or if you're going to clam up and just keep it to yourself. But I feel like, I don't know how to explain this, because I don't feel like you need approval from anyone, or don't necessarily need to prove to anybody that you're, let's say, special or unique, or have certain things to offer. But there is this element of how can people truly know you and truly see you if you don't let them, if you stay hidden. Okay, so I feel like there's something here about coming out of that shell, right? Um, and this is from a very authentic place as well. I feel like I need to say that this is not coming out of your shell in an egoic way, in a way that, you know, maybe like looking for attention or wanting to be the, you know, center stage, or you know, needing to stand out in the crowd. That's not what I'm getting at. This is coming from a very truthful, very authentic place where you have gifts to share with the world, um, to to better yourself and humanity at large, and you have unique perspectives that you can share, ways that you can help serve others. And I feel like this is where that's coming from, right? That it's coming from that place. So, but let's see here. Yeah, okay, so we do have the daughter or the page of wands. And this is like a beginner type of energy, okay, or a novice perhaps. Pages can also be messengers, but this is kind of an impulsive type of energy, or reckless type of energy, and I feel like you're gaining clarity on that. So this is really interesting because Libra being the scales, I feel like there's something here about balance. Again, it showed up with the fish too, and emotions as well. But I feel like there's something about being balanced here and not just doing things impulsively or recklessly, or maybe even out of anger, but doing, sharing things from a space, again, of authenticity and truth and beauty, and understanding them for what they are, understanding those things that you're sharing from a place of truth and beauty, as being like pearls. Because here's the thing, I'm just going to be honest here. I'm being reminded, and it's been coming in, and I've been kind of pushing it to the side, but it keeps coming in and coming in. Um, and I'm not by any means quoting this verbatim, but from scripture, there is something that is said about, not feeding pearls to swine. And I don't know why, but it's showing up here for me. It keeps coming through for you. And I feel like there's something about being reckless and impulsive, about just sharing the beauty that you are, and your gifts and your authenticity and your truth with just everybody. Right? Like so it's interesting because I've never got this energy before with this card, with the oyster, where it's that energy of there's a time to share those pearls and to let them be seen, right? Like there are certain people and situations where that is something that you would want to be doing, and then there are others where it's not, right? Because you don't want to be feeding pearls to swine. In other words, you don't want to be sharing things with people who don't appreciate them, who don't understand them, who see no value in them, right? And so I feel like there's something here about gaining clarity on balancing when you share the pearl that you are and when you don't. And for some of you, this could come from perhaps like codependency, right? Especially if you're somebody who's had a lot of difficulty balancing your emotions, or being in control of your emotions, or maybe you've been emotionally manipulative, or have been um, emotionally manipulated yourself by others. So it's very interesting because I feel like you're gaining clarity on this and are understanding to some degree that there is a need for you to be very open and share your truth, especially with people that matter, but also balancing that and not just sharing you with everyone, right? You're not a 7-Eleven. You should not by any means be open to everyone and everything. We also have here the Ten of Wands. Yeah, so this is an energy of exhaustion, being burnt out, stressed, right? And here's the thing, like I really feel that, so again, like the Ten of Wands is like that burnout, struggling, burdened type of energy. And I feel like you're gaining clarity on this in the sense that, again, here's the thing. And maybe, you're new to this, in some degree, new to understanding energy or your own energy perhaps, or new to learning about energy and what it means for you. But with the Ten of Wands here, there is an element of um, burdening yourself, right? Or how would you say? Oh, yes, thank you. Like burdening or overextending yourself because you're open to too many things, right? And I mean, again, this can show up in many different ways, but it's like being open to too many things, because I feel like there's there's something here about, again, the 7-Eleven is coming to mind. So this, I feel what you're gaining clarity on is like you should not be open to just everybody, because you're not a 7-Eleven. And when you are just running around, let's say, with your energy all willy-nilly and letting everyone have access, that's oftentimes more detrimental to you than helpful. Because again, you overextend yourself, you burden yourself, um, you burn yourself out, because it's all of these individuals can be feeding off of your energy, right? And once you get, like, you just don't want to be giving everyone access, because they're likely to be trampling around in your energy with what I call their muddy boots. And what I mean by that is their trauma, their wounding, the things they need to heal, maybe negative emotions or negative thoughts, or right, and all of these things affect us. So I mean, take that how it resonates, but I feel like you may be gaining clarity on this. And I feel like if you haven't yet put your finger on it, let's say, this would be one of those situations where you go around certain people, certain situations, and you leave feeling worse than when you arrived. Okay, you feel more tired, you feel maybe angry, maybe you feel out of sorts, you feel anxious, these sorts of things. And if that is true, then there may be a need for you to create boundaries. We also have the Justice card here, which is like holy banana nuggets, because I mean, the Justice is your representation, or one of them at least, in the tarot. Right. So I feel like there's this element here saying to you, Libra, and I feel like this is something that you're gaining clarity on. Like, you need to show up for yourself. You have to show up for yourself, right? Like, if you don't do it, nobody else is going to. And here's the thing, justice can be about clarity. And it's very strange to me that we're asking, where are you gaining clarity? And then the card that represents you and also represents clarity would show up. Okay, so I feel like you're gaining clarity on yourself, in addition to the gaining clarity on the need to balance your reality, to balance your affairs, to balance the, how would we say, um it just feels like boundaries, again, like balancing who you allow access to, you, and who you don't, and also like honoring your truth. I mean, and the truth is, like, you should not be open like a 7-Eleven. No one should, truthfully. Okay? We also have here for you the Seven of Pentacles, which it's in the reverse. And this, the Seven of Pentacles is one with like working without rewards, right? Or working without results, or maybe even being distracted. But I feel here like it kind of feels something like, I don't know why. Okay, take again. I mean, and this is with everything that I say. You take it as it resonates and then leave it if it doesn't. But I feel like for some reason here, the Seven of Pentacles is that representation of maybe you being open to many people or many experiences, and then you are like, I don't understand why um, maybe people don't stick around, or maybe why you aren't developing long lasting, very strong relationships, whether that be with romantic partners or if that is with your friends or your family or whatever it is. It could show up a lot of different ways, but there's this element of like, I don't understand why people, I don't know, it just feels like working without reward could be, I devote time and things to other people and nothing seems to come of it, or I devote time to certain situations and nothing seems to come of it. And I feel like this could be because you're giving you're giving those things, and you're giving um in spaces that, how would you say it, again, it's like feeding pearls to swine, like people that don't appreciate it, or you're not creating, how would we say, meaningful, thank you, meaningful connections, because you're just willy-nilly with your energy. You just like you how would you say, people treat you as you treat yourself, right? As within, so without. So if you're just all willy-nilly with your energy and you just don't give a shit, like other people aren't either, right? You teach people how you are to be treated. Okay, what else do we have? We have Temperance here. So this is super fascinating because you have two major arcana showing up in this position where you are or have gained clarity. Okay, and this says to me that there's the need here for balance, for harmony. Okay, this is Temperance. It's maintaining balance. And with this card, there's that balance there between fire and water, which you've had here. You've had the Daughter of Wands, the Ten of Wands, and then you've had these water elements showing up, right? So there's a need for this balance of your energy and your emotions. Truly, that's how I'm picking this up. Yeah, and also finding meaning within yourself, right? Because again, like you have unique things to offer the world. You have unique things to share, and just running all willy-nilly with your energy is it it devalues you, right? And I mean, let me rephrase that. It doesn't devalue you, but it shows how little you might value yourself, and then others follow that, because again, you lay the guidelines, right? Like you lay down the boundaries. And if you don't feel like you have meaning, if you don't feel like the relationships that you're creating or experiencing have meaning, that is what is going to be mirrored back to you. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So let's take a look at what you have the opportunity to change. We do have the Horse here, again with the moon, these crescent moons. That could be something significant for someone, that crescent moon shape. Maybe you were born under a crescent moon. Maybe it's a symbol that you've felt very connected to, or have used, or felt something towards. Maybe it's meaningful for someone. There's a couple of things I'm getting here. One is I feel like you have the opportunity to change. Um, and again, take this as it resonates, but the effort that you put into yourself, the work that you put in. Horses are, you know, notorious for being work animals, right? Um, so I feel like there's something there with that. I'm also drawn to the fact that this moon here is in the space of the where what we would call the third eye. So, you know, I feel like you can't run from what is true. You can't run from your intuition. You can't run from your subconscious. Like you can't run from things, right? No matter how much you want to hide them, no matter um you know, I like how much you play around in the dark or the light, like whatever. It's an interesting um energy trying to translate this, but it feels like you can't run. Okay, you can't run from that, any side of yourself. You can't escape from any side of yourself, right? Like your truth is there always, no matter how far you run. So I feel like there's something there. Let me just read here from the guidebook. Okay. So the horse represents momentum, freedom, expansive energy, and force. And actually, I'm getting fear coming up as well. So I feel like there's something here. I don't know why. Um, okay, for some of you, there, I don't know, there's an element of maybe being very codependent on other people. Maybe throughout vast, like throughout maybe your entire life or very large periods of your life where it's become pretty much all you know. And I feel like there's something where some of you may be very fearful of that freedom, very fearful of that expanse where you're relying on yourself. Okay, relying on yourself for stability, relying on yourself for everything that you need, right? And again, take it as it resonates. But for whatever reason, I feel like that may be something that is you, or rather, you're being given the opportunity to change here. Is to see how capable you truly are. Again, that you have that pearl within you. Okay. So it says the horse represents the most masterful form of earth energy within the deck. It provides us with momentum so reliable, so supportive, that you can ride on its back toward any goal, no matter how difficult the terrain. A horse personality is fully awakened, fully alive, and cannot be defeated. And I'm going to pause because I just looked up and saw 3333. Threes are about growth. Okay, but they're also about repeating threes, are also about the ascended masters or have those connections to the ascended masters, um, as well as, you know, the Trinity. And I'm not talking about dogmatic religion Trinity, but yet we could still call it the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's also called, it's kind of like a Jesus number. So I do feel like there are a few things here showing up with that number for you to let you know that you are supported should you choose to tread down this path, should you choose to walk this path of, you know, being fully awakened and being fully alive. The horse's freedom becomes available to us when we hone and collect our energy through daily practice. Physical stamina, exercise, and mental focus, meditation, are the secret weapons behind the horse's legacy. When in balance, achieves anything, never gives up. when out of balance, runs away and feels weak, to bring into balance, strength, training. Right? So again, I feel like you have the opportunity to change, or rather what you have the opportunity to change here is, like I was speaking on before we opened the book, right? There's that energy of like, you can't run away, right? And I feel like you have the opportunity here to face your truths, to be fully alive, fully awakened to who you are, your authentic truth, um, and to fully experience life in a completely different way. But again, this is only an opportunity, right? You have everything you need, and the horse is showing up to try to help you to expand and to create that momentum and to free yourself. But it is a choice. Wow, we have the yeah. So we have the lovers here as well, which um, previously was known as it's choices. The lovers was previously choices, and the lovers do represent choices, but in the reverse, it represents imbalance and disharmony, which has continuously showed up throughout your reading. Okay, so with this being in the reverse, there's that energy of indecision. There's that energy of conflict within self as well. And I feel like there's there's an element with this being the lovers of that codependency as well. So I feel like you have and that's not typical lovers energy, but it is something I'm picking up on intuitively. So, I feel like you have this opportunity to overcome that, to create harmony and balance in your experience, but it's going to take you addressing your own things. Okay, no one can do that for you. No partner, no friend, no family member, no job, no nothing. Nothing can do it for you but you. Not even, okay, depending on your beliefs, of course, but not even a spiritual guru, not an ascended master, not an angel, not anybody. No one can do it for you. You have to decide for yourself, and you have to do it on your own. I mean, that's not to say that you can't have help along the way or support, but no one can make the decision for you, and no one can change it but you. Okay? But the opportunity is here, and you have support should you choose to accept it and acknowledge it. What might you be celebrating now or in the future? Wow, okay, so we do have the Scorpion here. This is a fire energy, and I feel like with the Scorpion, there's a tendency to like sting, okay? And I feel like, how would you say, it almost feels like there's an element here of overcoming this, of overcoming that perspective that if you're on your own, that everything is going to sting you, or right there's almost like a paranoid type of energy coming through. I'm being reminded of Scorpio energy, and in the more lower or negative aspects of Scorpio, if you will, there's a paranoid type of energy and a destructive energy as well. And I feel like this is something that you may be celebrating overcoming. I feel like there's a possibility to gain new perspectives and to understand that not everything will sting you. I am going to jump into the book and just read for you what is here about the Scorpion. Again, looking at this from a more celebratory aspect, either now or in the future. But it says here the Scorpion is passionate, competitive, and tends toward isolation. The Scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. So you have this energy showing up again and again and again. And I feel like, again, Libra, there's an element for you to stand up for yourself, to keep going for yourself, right? To be passionate and determined for yourself, for what it is that you want to experience, what you want to create. Their career is very important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the scorpion seed festers and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. The Scorpio card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. When in balance, wild and free, fierce. When out of balance, jealous, resentful, unresolved. To bring back into balance, honesty and forgiveness. So it's interesting, right? Because Scorpio, which I feel like this is basically a representation of in this particular deck, is also on a positive aspect. They're very passionate, right? Very driven, very determined. And then on the more negative or lower aspect, they can be very jealous and very possessive and very clingy and again vindictive, paranoid, destructive. So I feel like what you might be celebrating either now in the future is the ability to move past your wounding or your traumas, to move past those situations where you may have been feeling left burned or taken advantage of or hurt or grieved in some kind of way, and freeing yourself from the burden of carrying that with you. Also, I feel freeing yourself from feeling like every single experience you have is going to end up that way, because that is that kind of self-sabotaging behavior. And I feel like that's where that destructive behavior comes in, right? We also have the octopus here, which I feel like you could be celebrating creating boundaries. So look, here we are again with that balance, if you will, between fire and water. Scorpion here being fire and the octopus being water. But I feel like you could be celebrating boundaries, creating them for yourself, holding them. And by in so doing, you are able to often see yourself more clearly. You are able to often, by creating boundaries, able to hear yourself more clearly, to make decisions based on what you want, what you feel, what you know to be true for you, without the, how would we say, pollution of other people's energies, their vibe, their thoughts, their negative comments or commentary or whatever it is, right? This is an energy of not overburdening yourself, right? Not taking on too much. And again, what's interesting is that Scorpion tends toward isolation. And the reason I feel for this, just intuitively speaking, is that you know your own worth, which could be something to celebrate, certainly. You also have, to clarify, the Knight or the Sun of Pentacles. There's that moon shape again for you. But with this, pardon me, Sun of Pentacles or Knight of Pentacles, this in the reverse is that energy yet again of like working without reward or obsessiveness. Okay. So, I feel like there's that energy of overcoming that, right? We're no longer, very much like with the Seven of Pentacles here in reverse, overcoming and celebrating the fact that you are now doing things in your experience that bring you that reward, that feel fulfilling to you, that make you feel like you have purpose, right? That make you feel like you're doing something worth your time, worth your energy, worth your effort, worth your attention. Okay. So celebrating that, I feel. We also have here, wow, the Sun in the reverse. So I feel like you could be celebrating again even though they're in the reverse, it feels to me like there's this maybe an ability to celebrate overcoming these things, moving past these things, creating boundaries around certain situations, certain people, and releasing, burdens that you've been carrying for through forgiveness, perhaps, right? Through honesty. But the sun in the reverse does represent depression, like the inability to see the good things in life, kind of having this overarching negativity, the kind of like a cloud you carry with you. So I feel like, should you allow yourself, and I feel like that's the key here, should you allow yourself to create this balance and this harmony in your life through boundaries, through seeing your own worth, your own value, through forgiveness, through honesty, I feel like you may be finding yourself overcoming those feelings, that depression, that negativity, and may find yourself seeing joy and pleasure and happiness in your everyday experience. Yeah, you also have the Six of Cups here, which again, this is an energy, Libra, of the past. It's also one of healing. And I feel like these are the things that you're healing here or have the opportunity to heal. Again, should you allow yourself to forgive? Should you allow yourself to be honest? And should you create boundaries around those things that simply do not serve you? Which includes people, places, belief systems, stories, behaviors, wounding, trauma, programming. Okay. But again, Six of Cups is an energy of that, how would we say, healing, restoration, memories, or nostalgia. Is also one of like childhood. So these could be things that you're healing from your childhood and overcoming, bringing harmony to, which is again just a reoccurring theme for you here, Libra. So, advice, guidance, or encouragement for you moving forward. Yeah, you do have clean it up here. The number 21, which reduces to 3, which was the number that was pointed out to you in this reading as well. But I feel, the clean it up here for you is again, like, first of all, I feel like this is your actual physical space. And maybe this is something you're aware of, maybe not, but your physical space, so let's say your house, your room, your car, your workspace, though if you have a lot of clutter, those spaces hold energies. And so oftentimes if you clean that up, literally, it helps to clear that energetic clutter as well. So that might be something that you want to seriously consider. But I feel like this is more so than anything about you cleaning up your own energetic space, right? Again, creating boundaries around who or what you give your time and energy to, releasing some of these things that maybe you've been carrying around with you for too long. Okay. So, I mean, I really do see this as like, you know, doing a cleanup of your energetic space, your mental space, your spiritual space, your emotional space through forgiveness, through honesty, through clarity of yourself, through bringing balance into your life, through putting down burdens and things that are overwhelming, that are overextending you, emotional things that maybe you've been carrying that again just aren't serving you, maybe dependent situations, behaviors. I mean, you name it, you can insert whatever you would like into the blank space, but cleaning up. Okay. But again, like doing so, I feel allows you the ability to bring in more of that happiness, more of seeing joy and pleasure. And what's interesting is the sun is a representation of the inner child, and here it's in the reverse. And then again, you have the Six of Cups, which is about the inner child, or childhood rather. And so, I feel like there's a great possibility here for you to be celebrating, bringing that vitality, that feeling of love, of life back into your experience through forgiveness and through boundaries and through recognizing your own value and through facing the things that maybe you've been running from, showing up for yourself. Okay, and putting the work in for yourself to bring harmony into your experience, to continue to balance your emotions, um, to continue to show yourself, or maybe for the first time to show yourself that you can be by yourself and rely on yourself and trust yourself. But as always, take what resonates and leave the rest. It's been an absolute pleasure to read for you, Libra. Thank you so much for joining me. If there was something here in this reading that resonated for you, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting, or subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow and tells YouTube that there may be something valuable here for someone else. I pray that you are able to see the pearl that you are, the beauty that you hold, male or female, really doesn't matter. I just pray that you're able to see your own value and to show up for yourself and appreciate you at your truth, at your authenticity, at the core of who you are, and see the beauty in yourself, and to bring harmony into your experience through seeing your own value and through reconnecting with every facet of yourself and choosing to free yourself from anything that's been weighing you down. Take care of your beautiful, unique, magnificent soul. Peace be with you and within you, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.